Hey, what's up guys? Bajheera here. Wanted to share a little bit of my leg day workout with you guys, but before I do that, want to give a huge thank you and congratulations to Mitchell MacDougall, aka Doritos, for winning our Cellucor C4 giveaway that I was hosting on my February progress update video. So, thanks again, man. Really appreciate your support on that video. And for those of you guys who are curious, I will be hosting a pretty big giveaway in conjunction with Cellucor on my next progress update video, which will be coming out very soon. We're going to be giving away an awesome supplement stack that's good for fat loss or muscle building. Either way, we're going to be hopefully giving away some C4 pre-workout, alpha aminos intro workout, whey protein post-workout, and some CLK non-stimulant fat burner. So if you guys keep on the lookout for that, hopefully I'll have it up in the next few days for you. But first things first, we got some leg day to talk about. This leg day was a pretty good one for me. I was pretty happy with how it went. Now, keep in mind that as I'm dieting, I'm not, like, intentionally lowering my weight in terms of, like, my plan. I'm just really going off of feel because learning from my previous dieting phases, my strength will go down, and depending on, you know, how well I met my nutrition needs the day before, I always try to get my food in that I as much food as I can that keeps me on my deficit and it hits my macros. But, you know, sometimes that just doesn't leave you feeling as good as you might prefer for a beast mode day in the gym. And what I've learned in the past is that rather than trying to struggle and be disappointed by not being able to meet the weights or reps that you used to be able to do when you were bulking or not in as much of a deficit, I really just try to work with what my body's giving me. So this day, luckily, I was able to hit the numbers that I wanted to do for the most part, and I was happy about that. But there are some days where 225 just feels really freaking heavy. And as much as I could grind out, you know, like 6 shaky reps or whatever, I think in those situations, it's better for me to just go ahead and get some really solid form reps in and, like, you know, quality reps in between like 185 and 205. And of course, the numbers in terms of the weights that you guys are lifting will vary. Some of you guys are way stronger than me, and some of you guys are just getting started, doesn't have less experience at the gym, maybe lifting a little bit lighter, and that's absolutely fine. What I'm trying to work with mainly for most of my sets is a rep range between 12 and 8 reps, so 8 to 12 reps. And you want those reps to count. I mean, sometimes, especially when I'm getting heavier, I will just sort of power through the reps more because, you know, it's heavy and I want to get my reps in and I want to make them count. But since it is heavy, I can be a little bit more explosive and still get what I need to out of the exercise. Now, around the 10 to 12 rep range, I am trying to do them a little bit slower, a little bit more controlled, and let them sink in. And what I mean by sink in is, like, really flex your muscles against the resistance rather than just trying to move the weight. And I talk about that a lot, and I hope that's something that sort of gets into your mindset when you're at the gym so you can experiment with that. Right now, this is just 205, and you can see I have good form. I'm keeping everything pretty solid in terms of my movements. I'm not going super slow, but I am allowing this weight to sink in and to have that big middle part of my quad and hamstring be what's being activated by this movement. So the main idea for me, especially on a diet like I was talking about before, is not getting too fussed with the amount of weight that I'm lifting and more the quality of the exercise that I'm trying to perform. So, but like I said, today I was feeling pretty good. I was able to get up here and do my sets of 8 with 225. And now, that being said, before I started dieting, I was really getting up there. I was feeling really strong with my squats. And I think I was doing like 225, 235 for like sets of 12, which was really, really good for me. That's the most I've ever done. And it's not like all of that strength has been lost. It's not like, okay, now that I'm dieting, I can only do 8, and you know, I'm just that much weaker. I think my squats, even though I'm doing less reps, these sets of 8 are way better and way better quality, way better form, way better quality than sets of 8 that I may have done like my last dieting phase. So I still would call this net progress. And one of the things that I like to think about in terms of my weightlifting, bodybuilding, you know, my efforts at the gym, is I do like to kind of think of it as like a snowball effect, right? Is that all of the work I did when I was bulking not only built me muscle back then, but also helped me establish patterns in terms of like the way my body does these lifts, right? So when I was bulking, I had all this energy and I could really practice using good form still, but being powerful and explosive with my lifts, even when I was doing heavy weight and doing them for a lot more reps. It just trained my body how to squat better. And so now when I'm a little bit lower calories, having to really work a little bit harder for the amount of weight that I was doing before, I'm still using good form, and I think that's one of those things that's going to help me maintain my muscle mass even throughout this diet. So there's a couple aspects to that, right? Just to review. A lot of times I feel like I go over the same thing that I just said, but it helps me think it out, and hopefully it helps you guys understand what I'm trying to say. But when you have, you know, enough calories to bulk, you're doing two things for yourself, right? Like I said earlier, you're building the muscle, obviously, and that muscle you want to hang on to while you're dieting. So you're doing that for yourself, but you're also teaching yourself how to perform the exercise correctly later on down the line. And that's one of the things I do try to keep in mind is that, and I encourage you guys to think of this as well. The whole bodybuilding, fitness thing, lifting weights thing, it's not only about the end result in terms of net muscle mass gain or net strength gain. By doing these exercises and by just getting in the habit and the practice and the lifestyle of doing this over a long period of time, you're actually building patterns that your body can follow. Whether it's like, you know, mind-muscle connection patterns in terms of being able to understand the way the exercise works, or just building your muscle up to the point where you can actually have greater access to the mind-muscle connection, right? So for me, there's definitely areas of concern for me, because like calves are one of them. When I was a runner, I feel like I had pretty good calves, but definitely a lot of you guys noticed in the comments, at least, it seems like you guys think like I must not train calves. I train calves like crazy. I do calves literally in between every set of everything I do on leg day, because I feel like that might be what it takes for me to at least build my calves to a point where I understand and I can mentally connect with the muscle that I'm trying to use. And once you can achieve that mind-muscle connection of actively flexing the muscle while you're performing a movement, that's when I feel like the most growth can occur, because that makes those movements that much more valuable to you. Plus, I got to give a shout out to this guy. This guy is at MS Fitness or MS Fit Challenge on Twitter. This guy received a Lifetime Achievement Award for his work from Arnold Schwarzenegger at this year's Arnold Expo. So he is a boss for what he does for trying to help people with MS, you know, still find ways to get exercise and still, you know, challenge themselves despite their condition. And I think that's freaking sick. And I'm going to be working with this guy more in the future, I hope. But I just randomly ended up meeting him at the gym. We had a little chat, and he's definitely a badass dude, and congrats to him. But anyways, he had my back on those squats. But back to what we were saying. By performing these exercises over time, you're actually teaching your body how to do them better. Or at least that is the mindset that I encourage you guys to have. No matter what you're doing, any sort of activity that resembles practice, right? Any sort of activity that requires discipline, rather than just sort of getting through it because that's what you do, allow yourself to get into it rather than just to get through it. So for your workouts, you know, even if you're not feeling your best, some days you're gonna go to the gym and you just want to get through it. Okay, I understand that, especially when you're dieting down. But when you're having a good day, when you're feeling good, I definitely encourage you to keep in your mind, like, think about what you're doing. Think about how it's supposed to work. So for these calf exercises, how is this supposed to access, you know, my calf muscle? How is this supposed to, you know, me moving this weight with my legs, right? Doing this sort of pressing movement. How is that supposed to access my leg muscle, right? How is this supposed to access my hamstring muscle? Think it through. You know, lifting weights, a lot of people just sort of end up thinking of it as, you're just all these big meatheads just throwing weights around and, you know, chugging their protein drinks, and fair enough, fine. But one of the things I like the most about bodybuilding for me is it's a meditative experience a lot of times, and it's a good way to get energy out, mental energy out, physical energy out, but it's also a good way for you to really get in touch with yourself. So rather than just putting everything out of yourself, you sort of bring things within yourself to bear, right? You think about, how is this working for me? You know, how am I able to get in touch with myself through this activity of, you know, weightlifting? And I think that's really cool. I think that's really valuable. But it also has, you know, very, very real positive consequences if you're able to master that, which I have not obviously mastered that in any way. But it's something that I'm working towards, and it's something that I wanted to at least talk about in this vlog, because as these vlogs often are, this is just sort of me rambling about thoughts I have about my fitness, rather than just, yeah, so today I went to the gym, did about 12 reps of this leg extension, it's pretty sick. I mean, that's cool and all, but like, that's obviously what's occurring on the screen. I mean, What's not obvious is the mental aspect of this, of me trying to get as in touch with my quadricep muscles as possible to learn how they work and to learn how I can flex them and help them grow better. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna leave you with that thought. You guys let that simmer in your head. This is probably one of the weirder gym vlogs, perhaps, but I appreciate you guys tolerating that. But anyways, guys, as always, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time, and peace!